Today we're going to look at an axe file that didn't quite win the poll it was in, but the support for it made me want to cover it first anyway, that being 2020's Magu-Chan by Kei Kamiki. Full name, Magu-Chan God of Destruction. Start date, June 22nd, 2020. End date, February 7th, 2022. Total chapters, 77, plus 1 bonus chapter. The author Kei Kamiki previously was known under the name Keiji Kinoshita prior to Magu-Chan, where they're credited as an assistant behind Devil's Plan, another axe manga from 2016 that is generally known for being not so great. After this, Kamiki would submit various one-shots to Jump, but have little success, only to have their editor approach them about making something in a genre they're a fan of, Kamiki loving works like Pokémon and Shin Megami Tensei Devil Children. This would inspire them to create their next manga, Magu-Chan, appearing first as a one-shot in Jump Giga in 2019, and then a full-on series in the following year in Jump. Magu-Chan would be a gag and slice of life manga following Ruri Dragon, a second-year middle school student who one day finds a gem on the beach while clam fishing. Upon cracking open this gem, it's revealed to be a sealing crystal. Inside is a higher being, Mag-Menwek, the god of destruction, and thankfully Ruri quickly settles on calling it just Magu-Chan, which is great for me as I stumble my words enough already. From this point we would see Ruru rather naively befriend Magu-Chan with good intentions, and Magu, despite wanting to destroy things at the start, ends up benefiting greatly from Ruru and her influence throughout the series, learning the value of friendship. The main goal of the series being about filling a book of friendship Ruru gifts Magu, with Magu originally thinking it's more of a cult roster type thing. Most of the gags tend to stem from Magu's self-entitled god complex behavior and confusion surrounding human customs, but more are slowly added throughout as the main cast fills up, which includes Ren, a childhood friend of Ruru's who has a crush on her, Kikyo and Yuka, Ruru's best friends from school, Rin, Ren's sister. This manga really likes names starting with R, as Ruru's mother is also called Rui too. Later in the first volume, we would also get the introduction of Izuma, a member of the Holy Order, a group who aim to keep the gods of chaos sealed away. The manga's main gimmick would then be about giving each of these characters their own little pocket gods to play with, hence the Pokémon and Devil Children influence that Kei Kamiki originally decided on. These gods would be Naputaku, the mad god Ren befriends, and it's a character who usually has some of the funnier gags in the series involving a group of hermit crabs he controls. Uneris is the god of providence who sided with the Holy Order originally, betraying the rest of the gods, and is mostly found with Izuma. She's probably one of the smarter characters and has a lot of smug and meta-type humor jokes. And there's a handful more which I'm not actually going to mention because one of the most fun parts of Magu is seeing these new little godlings pop up, and I don't want to rob you of that if you've never read the series. Magu doesn't quite have a proper plot, either being a slice-of-life gag manga, although there are occasional arcs throughout, the best of them involving Ruru and her feelings of loneliness and isolation, especially when her mother is involved, as it gets really emotional at times. But it's super sweet seeing Magu be there for her when she needs someone the most. It's really the core draw to the series in my opinion, just this sweetness and comfort it brings to you while you read. What I remember most though about Magu is its ending, and spoilers if you plan to read it as it's quite satisfying and a really nice send-off. I'll put a timestamp in the description to skip this section if you'd like to. The final chapter sees Ruru and friends grow up, get married, have children, and as they grow old, Magu has been watching over Ruru the entire time, Magu ultimately fulfilling his promise at the beginning of the story to destroy Ruru's loneliness. It's a genuinely bittersweet ending that really hit me when I finished the series for the first time. Magu never being my favourite manga in Jump, and I felt like I took it for granted by the time it ended. It's kind of ironic because the whole point of Magu is about enjoying the mundanity of life with friends. Still, the ending is beautiful and made me reevaluate the series after reading. Taking a series full circle, giving the whole 76 chapters before it a lot more meaning, and truth be told, It doesn't even feel like an axe. That's how good an ending Magu has. Asking and theorizing about why Magu got an axe, I think, is a little redundant and obvious. It never sold spectacularly. Regardless, it managed to get a total of 9 volumes with its very quaint premise. It was honestly something I wanted gone for the longest time in Jump 2, but now I commend it for lasting as long as it did, with me not really wanting to call its ending an axe. Magu would end though in issue 10 of 2022 with the following 2 issues containing Akanebanashi and Earthchild. The primary reason I think for it leaving the magazine is just the need for space, as later on we'd get even more manga and Super Smartphone and Ruri Dragon 2. It's just the natural life cycle of Jump for manga to come and go. So did Magu deserve to end here, and should it maybe have been allowed to stay a bit longer? For me, Magu-Chan is an odd series that at first glance didn't bring much to Jump, but seeing it end, I do think there was something special there. There was a cute slice of life series that's relaxing and suitable for a younger audience. It perhaps could have been a gateway for the next generation of manga readers to read Jump. Who knows what it could have been like if it was still serializing today though. On the other hand, Magu was fairly stagnant in my opinion, and while it did do things to keep things interesting now and again with the new gods, I would have liked a little bit more from it. So I don't think it's something that could have lasted forever, nor would I want to read it forever, and as such I'm actually really happy where and how it ended, it having a nice run and Jump, doing much better than most 15 to 30 chapter axes. But how does everyone else feel about Magu and its ending? First off, the YouTube poll I did had an extra entry this time named "It had a good run," a sentiment I felt fit Magu and others did too, and I think I was right to include this because it's by far the most picked option at 44%, with the "it should have been axed" option at a very low 8%, more than half of people answering the poll picking more positive options, but recognizing that it ended in a good place, and comments seem to agree on that too, citing its ending is particularly impactful, and one even mentioning the Shugomaru chapter featuring Magu, which was a really sweet gesture from a gag manga I wasn't a big fan of, and it just kind of shows that even other Jump mangaka had a soft spot for Magu. Meanwhile on Twitter we got a similar number of votes saying it had a good run, still heavily in favor of Magu and it being remembered fondly, with the comments expressing that it also had a good run, and one stating there was at least one more god planned, so it could have gone on for a little bit longer. Almost every time I hear about Magu, people remember it positively, and I think it makes sense. It's a really chill, friendly series that only ever aimed to make people smile, and smile people did. I'm sure people were upset when it ended, but it's a series I think most of us can look back on now fondly. So what has Kei Kamiki been doing since Magu-Chan ended? The answer being not too much publicly. Perhaps they've been crafting one-shots again over the last couple of years, or have been working on refining their skills, although they did return with a one-shot earlier in 2023, it being Salamandra no Shuushin, published in Jump Giga. We're met with a familiar art style upon reading, but what isn't familiar is the level of violence and gore on display, as Salamandra is about a salamander boy undergoing various horrible experiments as he has the power to regenerate. The one-shot sees him fall onto a planet from space, where he then gets taken care of by local indigenous people, and then he defends them from his original captors by transforming into a massive kaiju. The entire thing is actually fully voiced on the Japanese Shonen Jump YouTube channel if you'd like to check it out too, and I'll leave the links to both episodes in the description. I'm glad Kamiki is still around and getting noticed too. Hopefully they'll return to Jump or somewhere else with a new series sometime soon. I'd love to see how they've improved over time. And that's this Axe file closed. There's actually some links to another Axe manga too, with the author of Ginka and Glüna being an assistant to Magu, a fun fact I thought we'd end on. If you want to see more Axe files, please subscribe and stick around, as I regularly do polls here on YouTube or on my Discord to determine what we'll be covering next. A link to Discord will be in the description. As well as videos like these, I also have a series on the history of Shonen Jump, which you might also enjoy, and plenty of other Jump videos too. Please check them out. For now though, thank you so much for watching. Remember to be kind to each other, and take care.